Cool. So let's talk a little bit about Reedin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, it was in the middle of COVID lockdowns 2020. My phone rings and it's like, what? You're starting a kiteboarding company? It's like, do you understand what's happening? It's like, yeah, man, it's gonna be really good. Yeah, you were super excited, and it's like, tell us how did you decide from the competing world to transition to the manufacturing world?
Well, I knew there was always something in my competitive career that I wanted to do after my competitive career. And I've been working with Damien for many, many years, and we have a really good bond. And we were always brainstorming about, imagine we could do our own brand and we could, decide what we want to do. And, we both got at a point in our career where we felt like, this is the moment. And we basically sat together, because we had the idea.
Okay.
We knew it was going to be a good idea because we could only imagine like having all that freedom and designing products that we want to ride ourselves. And that just kept on blowing our minds, and we got so enthusiastic about it, but we never sat down to run the numbers and to figure out if this idea was was like a good business case.
So no business plan, not P&L, but you had the good feeling.
Yeah, but then we were like, okay, we gotta make a P&L, to see if our idea translates in a healthy company. So we basically sat down for like 5 days, and we ran like this massive P&L. I remember on like a big screen, and we ran all these scenarios, like worst case scenario, bad, like the really good scenario, and every scenario we did, we came out good in a positive number. And we were like, okay, we discussed it with some people that have a lot of experience in business, and then we were like, I think our idea is gonna work.
All right, so stop. I can tell you, just because they did all this, they are already better than half of the brands out there. Keep going.
And so yeah, again, like we ran all these numbers in every scenario. It looked, doable for us, and then we decided to give it a go, and we shook each other's hand, and we wrote, a couple rules for each other. So
what are the rules?
We're official. I can't tell you the rules, but
we're make sure that flies.
Yeah, I told Damien, you're responsible for making this thing fly as good as it gets, and I have a lot of faith in Damien, because he's just, in my opinion, the most incredible designer in the world. Like, he's just, every time I talk to him, he's like 5 steps ahead. Sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to, like, he tells me this idea, he's like, oh, I'm like, oh, Damien, like, what? let me think about it, and then I have to sleep over it at night, and then it starts to click, and I'm like, fuck, that guy is a genius, And the amount of hard work he wants to put into it is amazing, and it's just a very good match. And and then we started running numbers, and that was good. Then Damien started designing it, and I remember the first supermodel or sample I tried. I remember I pumped up the kite, I attached my lines, and I hooked in, I walked back, and the tension came in the lines, and the wind basically filled up the canopy, and I could feel right away, like, boom, we're onto something. I flew it, I had the session, and it just blew my mind. I knew, like, this is the kite I've always wanted to fly, and if we bring this to market, I'm very confident it's going to be very successful, and that's exactly what happened.
Who came with the name, you or Dan?
We both came with the name, and we wanted to give the brand name something. Reedin didn't mean something, so we wanted to give a meaning to the brand, and it's basically my last name, Langeree, and then Damien Girardin. So it's actually both of our last names combined to Reedin. And the philosophy behind it is that we wanted to give a meaning to Reedin, and that's exactly what we're doing now.
So, great design on the kite, numbers are running, and then you guys are sitting somewhere in Netherlands probably.
Yep.
And then what happens from there to manufacturing, distribution, and all this?
So then, that's a good question, because you have.
So it's
I could do the marketing, and Damien can design really good products, but then there's logistics, finance, all the other factors, as you know, as a business guy, that comes into play. But luckily, we called up one of our guys that we used to work with in sales, and we're like, we knew he didn't want to be part of the kite industry anymore, but we called him anyways to ask him a couple questions, and he was like, I don't know what you guys are up to. That sounds way too good. You know, I want to be part of this. And he had a logistic, because he was selling clothes, so he had the warehouse and the logistic operation. And he's like, you know what, just send your first batch here and we'll cover the logistics for you guys. And so we started in the warehouse in a little corner. And then he started working for us for like 1 day a week. And then he went to 2 days a week, and then to 3 days a week, and then to 6 days a week, and then to 7 days a week. And then we started from the little corner to like half of the wall, then to the whole wall, and then to the whole warehouse. And then we had to buy the next warehouse next to it. And
that's all in Netherlands?
That's all in Netherlands. And then his business partner said like, oh, I'll help you guys with a little bit of logistics 1 day a week. And that guy went from that same thing from 1 day a week to like 7 days a week.
So first container of kites arrive, and then COVID hits. What happens?
I had sleepless nights.
Sleepless nights.
I was like, this was like the best idea. Like, we have a kick-ass product. We had, you know, this whole business plan that was perfect. We put our own savings into the company where we could be able to buy our first batch of kites. The first batch of kites literally lands in the warehouse. COVID hits. Everything shuts down.
How shut down in Netherlands or in Europe?
We basically had the first batch. We sold it in 5 days, which we were amazed by, you know. And we were like, oh yes, when it's gonna come, we're gonna send it out. They're gonna pay us, and then we can buy more kites, and then, you know, grow the business organically. And then COVID hit. The kites were there. First guy started calling. Hey, can you put my order on hold? Okay, I'll put it on hold. Next guy. Can you put my order on hold? 90% of the orders were put on hold, and I was like, what's going to happen?
What are we doing now?
This sucks. And then it was basically quiet for 2 weeks, and we were stressing. I wasn't sleeping, and Damien and I were calling each other like pretty much the whole day. Like, what should we do, coming up with all these things? And then after 2 weeks, first guy started calling, hey, you know, ship my order anyways. And then the other guy, ship my order. And then the first batch just went whoop. We send it out. We got the money in. We were able to buy the next batch, and then it just started exploding. And it's still well, we haven't stopped since then.
Well, very good, man. So that's how you start a kite brand. And all right, so it's a lot of work, all going behind the scenes, and obviously there's something to be said about product launched in unheard of economy and global world, and it's sitting behind me. There's something to be said about the product, so performance, and it really does what it does. All right, we can wrap it up with something.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Yeah.
Check out some more videos on the link below, or click here. Buy your kites.
Click over there.